He's back. And I'm not talking about some casual return. I'm not talking about a surprise appearance where he waves to the crowd and disappears. I'm talking about Seth freaking Rollins, the man who we thought was finished, the man who we watched get absolutely destroyed just weeks ago, the man whose career was supposedly hanging by a thread, showing up on Monday Night Raw without a sling and looking like he's ready to burn the entire place to the ground. If you're not losing your mind right now, you haven't been paying attention. Because what just happened on Raw isn't just a return. It's a resurrection. It's a phoenix rising from the ashes. It's a warrior who refused to stay down, who refused to accept defeat, who looked death in the face and said not today. Seth Rollins is back. And the entire WWE landscape just shifted on its axis in ways that nobody could have predicted. Championships are in jeopardy. Feuds are about to reignite. Scores are about to be settled. And someone, somewhere in that locker room, is about to have the worst night of their entire life. This is the story of a man who wasn't supposed to return this quickly. A man whose injury was so severe that experts were predicting months on the sidelines. A man who had every excuse to take his time, heal properly, and come back when it was safe. But Seth Rollins doesn't do safe. Seth Rollins doesn't do cautious. Seth Rollins does revolutionary. And what he just pulled off is nothing short of miraculous. So buckle up. Shut off your phone. Cancel your plans. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind, shake your understanding of what's possible in professional wrestling, and leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the Monday Night Messiah. Let's rewind to where this nightmare began. Because to truly understand the magnitude of what we just witnessed on Raw, you need to understand the absolute hell that Seth Rollins has been through. You need to understand the pain, the suffering, the doubt, and the darkness that he's been battling for weeks. It was supposed to be just another match. Just another night of Seth Rollins doing what he does best, putting on an absolute clinic and reminding everyone why he's one of the greatest performers of this generation. But wrestling is unpredictable. Wrestling is dangerous. And sometimes, no matter how talented you are, no matter how careful you are, things go horribly wrong. The injury happened in a moment that made every fan watching collectively gasp in horror. You could see it on Seth's face immediately. That look of realization. That flash of panic. That moment where an athlete knows instantly that something is very, very wrong. The way he grabbed his shoulder. The way his whole body language changed. The way the match had to be stopped because everyone, from the referee to his opponent to the medical staff, knew this was serious. The replays were brutal to watch. The angle was terrible. The impact was sickening. And as Seth was helped to the back, clutching his shoulder, his face contorted in pain, every single person in that arena and watching at home had the same thought. How bad is it? How long will he be out? Will he ever be the same? The official diagnosis came shortly after, and it was devastating. A significant shoulder injury that required immediate medical attention. The kind of injury that has ended careers. The kind of injury that takes months of rehabilitation and physical therapy to recover from. The kind of injury that leaves even the toughest athletes questioning whether they'll ever perform at the same level again. WWE announced that Seth would be out indefinitely. Commentary started talking about him in the past tense, discussing his legacy and his accomplishments as if his career might be over. Fans started speculating about retirement. Wrestling Twitter went into mourning mode. The future looked bleak. Seth Rollins was put in a sling. That image, the architect, the revolutionary, the Monday Night Messiah, reduced to wearing a medical sling and unable to even lift his own arm, was heartbreaking. This is a man who has given everything to professional wrestling. A man who has broken his body time and time again for our entertainment. A man who has main event WrestleManias, held every major championship, and cemented himself as one of the all-time greats. And now, he was injured. Vulnerable. Potentially finished. The weeks that followed were torture for Seth Rollins fans. Every update was carefully worded. Every statement was vague. There were no timelines given for his return. No promises made. No guarantees offered. Just uncertainty. Just waiting. Just hoping that somehow, someway, the injury wasn't as bad as it seemed. Behind the scenes, Seth was going through his own personal hell. Imagine being someone whose entire identity is wrapped up in physical performance, in athletic excellence, in being able to do things that 99% of the population can't even dream of doing. And suddenly, you can't even lift your arm without excruciating pain. The mental toll of an injury like this is just as brutal as the physical toll. The depression that sets in when you can't do what you love. The anxiety about whether you'll ever be the same. The fear that your career, everything you've worked for your entire life, might be over. The frustration of watching your peers perform while you're stuck on the sidelines. Seth has been open about his mental health struggles in the past. He's talked about the pressure of being at the top of WWE, the expectations, the constant scrutiny, the toll it takes on your psyche to be performing at that level week after week, month after month, year after year. Now add a career-threatening injury on top of all that? The darkness must have been overwhelming. But here's what separates legends from everyone else. Here's what makes certain athletes transcendent. It's not just the talent. It's not just the physical gifts. It's the mindset. It's the refusal to accept defeat. It's the ability to turn pain into motivation, to turn setbacks into comebacks, to turn what breaks most people into what builds them. Seth Rollins looked at his injury, looked at the timeline doctors were giving him, looked at everyone telling him to take his time and be cautious, and he said one thing: "Watch me." The rehabilitation process began immediately. And when I say Seth attacked his recovery with the same intensity he brings to the ring, I mean he became obsessed. This wasn't just going through the motions of physical therapy. This wasn't just doing the minimum required to heal. This was a man on a mission. Early morning training sessions, late night ice baths, constant work with trainers, physical therapists, and specialists. Every single day was dedicated to one goal: getting back in that ring faster than anyone thought possible, proving every doubter wrong, showing the world that Seth freaking Rollins doesn't stay down for anybody. Sources close to Seth's camp started reporting that his progress was remarkable, that he was ahead of schedule, that the recovery was going better than anyone could have hoped. But still, there were no promises. Still, there was no official return date. Still, everyone assumed we were months away from seeing Seth Rollins back in action. And then Monday Night Raw happened. And everything changed. The show was already electric. Great matches. Compelling storylines. The crowd was hot. And then, during a backstage segment, someone walked through the shot in the background. Just a quick glimpse. Just a fleeting moment. But eagle-eyed fans watching at home caught it. Was that Seth Rollins? Did he just walk by without a sling? Wait, rewind that. Social media exploded. Screenshots were being shared. Videos were being uploaded. Fans were losing their minds trying to confirm what they thought they saw. Was Seth actually at the arena? Was this a mistake? Was this intentional? What the hell was going on? Commentary didn't acknowledge it. The show continued like nothing happened. But the damage was done. The secret was out. Seth Rollins was in the building. And he wasn't wearing a sling. Who else absolutely lost it when they saw Seth walk by backstage? Drop a comment if you caught it live. The anticipation for the rest of the show was unbearable. Every segment break, fans were expecting Seth to show up. Every commercial, everyone was on the edge of their seats wondering if this was the moment. Every entrance ramp shot, the crowd was chanting his name, begging for him to appear. WWE was playing with us. They were building the tension. They were letting the speculation and excitement reach a fever pitch. Because they knew what we all knew. When Seth Rollins finally made his presence known, when he finally stepped out from the shadows, it was going to be explosive. And they were absolutely right. The moment came during the main event segment of Raw. A huge in-ring promo was taking place. One of WWE's top heels was in the ring, running down the roster, claiming there was nobody left who could challenge him, nobody who could stand in his way, nobody who could stop his reign of dominance. The crowd was booing. The heel was loving it. He was feeding off the negative energy, getting more and more arrogant with every word. He stood in the center of that ring like he owned it, like he was untouchable, like he was the king of Monday nights and nobody could do a damn thing about it. And then the lights flickered. Just for a second. Just enough to make everyone pause. Just enough to make the arena collectively hold its breath. The music hit. That music. The music that has signaled the arrival of one of the most dangerous, most talented, most revolutionary performers in WWE history. The music that makes grown men and women jump out of their seats. The music that means someone is about to get their ass kicked. Seth Rollins' music. And the place came unglued. The pop was deafening. The kind of reaction that gives you chills even watching through a screen. The kind of crowd explosion that reminds you why live wrestling is the greatest form of entertainment on earth. Thousands of people on their feet, screaming, chanting, losing their absolute minds. And then he appeared. Seth freaking Rollins. Walking down that ramp. No sling. Full ring gear. Looking like he never left. Looking like he's been waiting for this exact moment. Looking dangerous. The heel in the ring went from cocky to terrified in about 2 seconds flat. Because he just realized that his night was about to get a whole lot worse. That his big moment just got hijacked by a returning superstar who has months of frustration to work out. That he just became the recipient of all the anger, all the pain, all the pent-up aggression that Seth Rollins has been storing up during his time away. Seth slid into the ring and the place was shaking. The energy was off the charts. This wasn't just a return. This was a statement. This was Seth declaring that the injury couldn't keep him down. That the doubters were wrong. That he's back and everyone better be ready. The stare down was intense. 2 men. 1 ring. A crowd going absolutely insane. You could cut the tension with a knife. You could feel through the television screen how electric that moment was. This is what wrestling is all about. This is why we watch. For moments exactly like this. What happened next was pure chaos. Seth and the heel started brawling, punches flying, the crowd chanting louder with every strike. Security tried to intervene. Other wrestlers rushed to the ring. The whole thing devolved into beautiful, glorious pandemonium. And through it all, Seth looked incredible. The shoulder? Looked fine. Better than fine. He was moving like he never got injured at all. Throwing strikes with both arms. Taking bumps. Moving around the ring with that signature Seth Rollins explosiveness and athleticism. If you didn't know he had been injured just weeks ago, you would never have guessed it watching him work. The segment ended with Seth standing tall in the ring, music blaring, crowd absolutely losing it, and every single person watching knowing they just witnessed something special. The architect is back. The revolutionary has returned. The Monday Night Messiah has risen. And Monday Night Raw will never be the same. But let's dig deeper into what this means. Because Seth's return isn't happening in a vacuum. His comeback has massive implications for multiple storylines, multiple championships, and multiple superstars who thought they were safe with him on the shelf. First and foremost, the World Heavyweight Championship picture just got infinitely more interesting. Seth Rollins has unfinished business with that title. He's held it before. He's built his legacy around being a champion. And you can bet your last dollar that he's coming back with his sights set directly on championship gold. Whoever currently holds the title just got put on notice. Your reign just got a lot more complicated. Because Seth isn't going to wait in line. He isn't going to gradually work his way back up the card. He's a main event player. A WrestleMania headliner. A former WWE champion multiple times over. He's going straight to the top, and he's taking what he believes is rightfully his. But beyond the championship, there are scores to settle. Think about everyone who celebrated when Seth got injured. Everyone who kicked him while he was down. Everyone who talked trash when he couldn't defend himself. Everyone who tried to take his spot during his absence. They all just made the list. And Seth Rollins' list of people who need to pay is long. He's got receipts to hand out, debts to collect, revenge to extract. And he's going to take his sweet time making sure everyone who wronged him gets exactly what they deserve. Then there's the Shield connection. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, or Jon Moxley, or whatever he's calling himself these days. The brotherhood that was formed. The brotherhood that was broken. The unfinished business that still exists between these three men. Seth's return opens up possibilities for those stories to be revisited, for those rivalries to be reignited, for those emotions to come flooding back. Imagine Seth and Roman face to face again after everything that's happened. Imagine the promos. Imagine the intensity. Imagine the match. That's money. That's WrestleMania main event level storytelling. And it's now back on the table with Seth's return. The tag team division just got more interesting too. Could Seth team with someone? Could we see temporary alliances formed? Could old partnerships be renewed? The possibilities are endless. And let's not forget about the young talent who thought they were going to get Seth's spot on the card. The up-and-comers who saw his injury as an opportunity to shine. Some of them did great. They seized the moment and proved they belong. But others? Others are about to find out the hard way that when a legend returns, spots get taken.